never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can understand it fully. Appreciate my standing, go out of this world and right on time. Oh, never in my life have I seen the sky light up like this. I'm far away from Earth and I wanna know if you exist. Mission control, do you read me? Send me my coordinates lately. Mission control, am I drifting? Tie me to someone who will love me, yeah. Wait, I think I'll last a bit longer. Find another reason to breathe this air.
Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. Now that it's Tuesday, I can officially say happy July 4th to everyone out there. And let me next say that if you watched yesterday's video, I apologize for the long pause and me looking stupid before the dad joke, but I told you last week that we have rearranged our studio, and since we've rearranged it, I've been trying to find a new home for the board that I use, because in the old studio, the way it was set up, I had a spot, I kept it all the time. Well, now I'm trying to find me a new spot and trying to make it to where I don't have to move my head around so much. And I thought I had the perfect spot until it came time for the dad joke, and then I realized the view was blocked. So I was trying to move to where I could see the dad joke so that I wouldn't forget it or forget any part of it. And I realized, oh darn, I can't see it. So that 3 or 4 seconds there of me looking stupid is me trying to get an angle good enough for me to see the dad joke. But anyway, on to today's video, where I want to talk some NBA free agency. Before we do that, though, let's talk about the NASCAR Cup Series race from this past Sunday night. They raced on a street course, and it was downtown Chicago. They shut down a main highway there in downtown Chicago and ran a NASCAR Cup Series race. And I'll be honest with you, going into it, I thought it was going to be terrible. I thought there was going to be no cautions because the leader's going to get out and leave the field. And I couldn't have been more wrong. I don't know if there was more than 2 laps at any point in time during the race where there wasn't some kind of action going on the track. Now, the one thing that was terrible and somebody didn't think it through was that the race was supposed to be 100 laps. And of course, Chicago's on Central Time, so they were supposed to start at 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Central. But because of heavy monsoon-type rain all day long in Chicago, they started right around 6:35 Eastern, 5:35 Central. And about lap 44, 45, somewhere along in there, they decided that they had to take it from 100 laps down to 75 laps because there had been so many cautions already. With that combined with the starting late, they realized they weren't going to get the race in because it was going to get dark. So they dropped it from 100 laps down to 75. First of all, I can't believe there's a street in downtown Chicago, as busy as Chicago is, that doesn't have street lights. And second of all, if you've had this planned for a year, you should have either paid somebody to put a few street lights on that street, or paid a couple $100 and put some kind of lights on each race car. But outside of that, the race itself was amazing. We got our 12th different winner this year. Shane Van Gisbergen came home with the win. And if you've never heard of him, don't feel guilty. Nobody else has either. It was his first career race. He raced the 91 car, which is owned by Trackhouse Racing, the same guy that owns Ross Chastain, the same guy that owns Tyler Reddick. It's a part-time car this year. They're talking about making it a full-time ride next year. But Shane Van Gisbergen is from New Zealand. He's won 80 career supercar races, 3 career supercar championships. But he's the first driver since 1963 to win in his NASCAR Cup Series debut. Now, if memory serves me correctly, when Kevin Harvick took over for Dale Earnhardt and won Atlanta in 2001, I think that was Harvick's 3rd start. And I believe when Trevor Bayne won Daytona in 2011, it was his 3rd start. So we've had a couple of drivers in the modern era that have come close to that. But the first driver since 1963 to win in his Cup Series debut, Shane Van Gisbergen. Justin Haley comes home 2nd, followed by Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, and Kyle Busch. And then Austin Cindric, Michael McDowell, Joey Logano, Ty Gibbs, and Chris Buescher rounded out the top 10. And of course, there's no more off weeks for the Cup Series, so of course that means they're back in action this upcoming weekend. Sunday night, Atlanta Motor Speedway, 7 o'clock is the drop of the green flag Eastern Time on USA. It's the Quaker State 400 presented by Walmart. Now, there's been a ton of action so far in the NBA free agency / trade market. It's not over with yet, but it is going to slow down. Now, like always, I'm not going to sit here and tell you every single signing or every single trade, because some I don't think make a difference. But these are the names that most people, even if you're a casual NBA fan, you'll recognize. Herbert Jones, who plays for my New Orleans Pelicans, re-signs with them. The Heat retain Josh Richardson and Kevin Love. Now, Kevin Love, most folks thought was out of the league, but he came back for the Miami Heat towards the end of this past season and played the rest of the season. But I think that's his first action since about 1990, so he should be good and fresh. Fred VanVleet signs with the Houston Rockets. Cam Reddish signs with the Los Angeles Lakers. The Dallas Mavericks sign Seth Curry. The Denver Nuggets sign DeAndre Jordan and Reggie Jackson. And the Memphis Grizzlies sign Derrick Rose. This has to be the 112th team Derrick Rose has played for. And I've heard for the past 10 years he was going to retire. Apparently, he's not ready to retire. The Miami Heat trade Victor Oladipo to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Tyrese Halliburton signs with the Indiana Pacers. The Lakers re-sign D'Angelo Russell. The Philadelphia 76ers sign Patrick Beverly. The Milwaukee Bucks re-sign Brooke Lopez. The Lakers re-sign Austin Reeves. The Utah Jazz trade Damian Jones to the Cleveland Cavaliers. LaMelo Ball re-signs with the Charlotte Hornets. And the Houston Rockets sign Dylan Brooks. And the Clippers re-sign Russell Westbrook. And now Damian Lillard has officially said he wants out of Portland. So the Trailblazers will probably be getting rid of him. There's been a rumor for a couple of years now that supposedly he was trying to be good and not look bad, but really he wanted out. But now he's officially came out and said he wants out. As good as he is, more than likely there's probably at least 20 teams that want him, but he wants to go to the Miami Heat, which is not a bad option when you have Jimmy Butler. But Damian Lillard's a great player, but the problem with Portland is they're stuck in NBA purgatory and seem like they're fine with it. They're usually good enough to make the playoffs, but they're not good enough to do anything because they have Lillard and that's about it. And they don't make any effort in any offseason to go out and get better. They seem like they're satisfied with just being just good enough to either play in the play-in tournament or make the playoffs and get beat in the first round, and they're fine with that. Any thoughts on any of this, please feel free to let me know. Homes for Our Troops is a publicly funded 501c nonprofit organization that builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans. Since the 2004 inception, nearly 90 cents of every dollar spent has gone directly to our program services for veterans. Visit at hfotusa.org. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. I told my son he shouldn't listen to losers. Now he won't talk to me. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.